This is Matt with Axeman Guitar Service. Today we're going to be checking out the Bootlegger Blues 20 Dumble style amp. Going over the features on the front here. In this box here we have the preamp section where we have the volume input, of course, and treble, middle, and bass EQs. There's also a bright switch, a mid boost, and a rock jazz switch. In the overdrive section here, we've got a level control, which controls how much overdrive you want as far as crunch. And then the ratio control is how much mix the overdrive gets put into the signal. And then in the power amp section here, we've got a master volume and a presence control. Then the standby switch is on the front. And around back, we've got our power supply. We've got a fuse, our on-off switch. The standby is on the front. On-off switch is on the back here. We've got our speaker cable coming out to our 16 ohm speaker, so be sure to keep the impedance at 16 ohms. There's also another output if you want to have an external amp cabinet. There's an effects loop, return and send, an overdrive trim knob, which we'll talk about later, and an overdrive or preamp boost pedal control back here. Setup is nice and quick. We'll put our power supply in here and foot switch. After plugging our instrument cable into the input, we will turn the on-off switch on from the back. And then once we've given that a little bit of time to warm up, we'll turn on the standby switch. For all sound examples, we'll be using the Bootlegger Royal guitar. So looking at the preamp section here, we've got everything pretty much at 5 middle of the road settings, and then we're going to go through each one of these toggle switches on the top here. So here's the basic clean tone. And let's see what this bright switch does. Gives it a little bit more bite. The mid boost, quite a bit more power there. That really thickens it up. Let's go back down with that and try the rock jazz setting. So now it's on jazz. So very clean. That pushes the amp quite a bit on the rock setting for a more driven sound. Now going over the overdrive channel with the pedal switch set to off, there's no overdrive, but if I kick that on, so as we discussed before, the level is the amount of distortion or overdrive that you want, and then the ratio is the mix, so how much you want mixed into the signal. Turn that up more. And then in the power amp section here, we've got a master volume and presence. Master volume is nice because you can have the amp driven very hard, but then have a nice bedroom volume output. And then presence adds a little bit of sparkle. So if we roll that up, we're going to get a little bit more high-end clarity, a little bit more air. So even though I'm playing on a guitar with humbuckers, with the presence all the way up, that gives it almost like a single coil type sound. The overdrive trim knob is kind of a nice way to limit how much overdrive you want on the front of the amp. So you can have it full stop, almost like a distortion tone, or if you want to tame it down a little bit. The overdrive altogether, you can tame it so it's just at the edge of breakup. Very nice touch sensitivity on that overdrive. The manual switches on the back here enable you to turn on the overdrive or preamp boost without the pedal connected. So if I disconnect the pedal here, I can turn on the overdrive manually or the preamp boost manually. So that's kind of a nice option if you forget the pedal. What's nice about the overdrive ratio control is that you can set that to a unity gain so that when you kick in the overdrive, you don't get a huge boost in volume. So if you're going back and forth between clean and overdrive, that's a nice feature to have. Thanks for checking out the Blues 20 amp by Bootlegger.